Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Emmanuel was making me laugh this morning. Good morning, good morning. How are you? First of all, welcome to the month of February. Drum roll, please. Oh my, I'm ringing a bell. It's a beautiful day to be alive in this month of February. It's a beautiful day to be here today. And we're just grateful for life. We're in the second month of the year and the month of love, like people will say. I think Ramadan is also starting this month, so quite a few activities are going to be happening. I want to say, give our Muslim faithfuls a hug in advance. Those who had already planned, their Valentine's celebration, well, you're going to be fasting. You're going to be waiting on Allah for answers to your prayer. So leave Valentine and face your fast in this month. With that being said, this is still Women Radio 91.7 FM, the voice of women, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. My name is Fumi Bangala. This is the Daily News Review, the first daily news review for the month of February. Today is Monday. What's the time? 29 minutes to 8 this morning. Ooh, that was a mouthful. We are live on YouTube at WFM 917. You can also listen to us on the go, www.wfm917.com. We're going to be joined shortly by our in-house analyst, Emmanuel, and we're going to get right into the thick of things. Rose is unavoidably absent this morning, but we got this. Myself and you, our newspaper, our daily news review family, we got this. Plenty of things have been happening over the weekend, and we have quite a number of things to talk about this morning. But first, let's get into the headlines this morning. Starting off with the Punch newspaper, we have travels. Presidency spends 34 billion naira on Forex in 2 years. We are going to get into this morning because when I saw the amount of money, I said, I'm sorry, what? How? Why? Where? All of the questions. So we'll get into it with our analyst this morning. Makoko demolition is on Tuesday. I'm hoping and praying that their conclusion will be positive for both parties, especially those in Makoko, because it's one thing to say you're going to meet with them. It's another thing for them to come out not smiling. It's another thing for the conclusion of the matter to only benefit a certain people. So I'm hoping that across board, whatever they discuss, whatever comes out of their meeting will favor the residents of Makoko going forward. Next up, we're moving on to the Guardian newspaper. Fela Kuti makes history as the first African to receive the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. I would like to say about time, do you think? About time, because, we know that Fela was way ahead of his time, and in the heat of, I don't know if you had been seeing the conversation or the fight between Seun Kuti, Fela's son, and Wizkid over the week. I think it was last week and 2 weeks ago. It was quite a long day for the music industry, and it was back and forth. However, he posthumously got a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Grammys 2026, and I'm saying about time. But I think my concern is the first African. With the many great things we've been doing for music from Africa, I'm thinking, what are you talking about? In the same vein, Tyler was the one who won the African Awards for the Grammy over the weekend. I was upset because what do you mean Tyler won over Davido or over Wizkid or over Burna? No, make it make sense. Or over Ira Star, make it make sense. We're not going to get into it because this is not that. But congratulations to the Fela Kuti family on this great achievement. Next up on the Guardian newspaper, Kajuru, 80 abducted church worshippers escape bandits' den. Okay. In the This Day newspaper, coup attempt, I was targeted for elimination, says the defense minister. When I read this, he was saying how they were either going to arrest him or he was going to be shot, whichever one. And he went on to talk about how he didn't know what these people were thinking, because were you thinking that you were actually going to get away with it. He said when you even see their plan was zero and all of that. But anyway, we're happy that the code didn't come to fruition. Next up in this day newspaper, we have terrorists raid Niger community, burn church and police station. Niger again. Because it was just over the weekend, over the Christmas holidays, December, that the kids were finally, the abductees were finally returned to their families. And it was just 26th of January last week, yes, that the schools finally opened. But to see this happening again in Niger community, I'm tired. Hi. Oh, no. In the Daily Trust newspaper, we have oil-rich Eba Island tears Ogun and Ondo states apart. Next up in the Daily Trust, we have e-registration. APC forcing civil servants to join ruling party. ADC raises alarm. I'm hoping that this is not true at all, because nobody should be forced to join any party, regardless of whether you're working for them or not. In the Vanguard newspaper, we have 2027 polls. Fear of postponement looms over delayed electoral law. Next up on the Vanguard newspaper, we have Soludo-Onitsha traders face off. Showdown looms in Anambra today. We are going to get into it because he has opened the markets. Meanwhile, I probably saying you dare not leave your house. It's really the battle of who right now. So we're going to get into that. Hopefully, if time allows us. In the Premium Times, we have Osun Assembly accuses Oyetola of illegal control of council funds. Warns UBA. Next up in the Premium Times, we have troops kill another terror commander. 10 insurgents in Borno State. That is a step in the right direction, and we're happy about that. In the Nation newspaper, we have 3 injured as truck crashes into car in Oshodi. Truck crashes into car? Their souls. Okay, they didn't die. They're just injured. We hope and pray for a speedy recovery for them. Ndumi asks reps leadership to caution Agbese over tax law controversy. Those are the headlines from the Nation newspaper. In the Cable newspaper, we have claims of anti-snake venom shortage unfounded as the FMC denies negligence in singer Nanya's death. This happened over the weekend where she was bitten by snakes and then died. She passed at such a really young prime age. May her soul rest in peace. Next up in the Cable newspaper, we have Peter Obi to Nigerians. Remember politicians in your prayers. We are Nigeria's problem. Sir, you got that one right. And it's important that we put them in our prayers. Absolutely correct. In the Daily Post, we have Benue killings. Nigerian government to arraign Yelwata's massacre suspects on Monday. Kwara schools reopen as security situation improves. Moving on to the Tribune newspaper, we have bandits attack passenger bus, kill 5, abduct several others in Kogi State. God abeg. Street vandals at site. Onanuga reacts to vandalization on Ibadan, Ilesha, Ife Highway project. Street vandals at site. Finally, in the dailies this morning, we have this one from the pen-pushing newspaper. Police uncover orphanage facility organizing human trafficking in Badagry. Last week, we talked about, was it in Imo State? I do not recall, a baby factory in Ondo State. I'm not sure which one of them. And I remember saying to Rose that as long as there's demand for babies, there will always be a supply for them illegally. Same here. Orphanage facility. Orphanage is supposed to be a place that houses children that don't have parents or children that have been abandoned. And then we're seeing that it's also facilitating human trafficking. As well. Staff Association of Statutory Corporations accuses Nigerian Labour Congress of promoting unlawful labour practices. Those are the headlines this morning on the National Dailies. You want to well to give you a copy, better still stick around with us as we tackle the headlines that caught our eye this morning. But before we go on, let's welcome our in-house analyst Emmanuel Olonade. Good morning, Emmanuel. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Fumi, and happy new month.
Happy new month to you too.
The month of February, and I wish you a prosperous month, and also to our listeners, I wish them a prosperous month, and trust you had a wonderful and a very restful weekend.
I did. Restful weekend. Don't be asking me on a weekend. I don't know. I say I did immediately, but I'm not sure I did. Emmanuel, what are your plans for Valentine's before we get into it? We're 12 days away. Is there a special somebody?
About a month ago, I searched through your DM. About a month ago.
What?
Valentine is coming. Where is your girlfriend?
That's the question I'm asking you.
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe you have plans for me, or you've made a plan with someone for me on my behalf, so I don't know. But I think on that February 14th, I have a wedding I have to attend.
Let's get into the headlines this morning. Presidency spends 34 billion naira on Forex in 2 years. It's from the Punch newspaper. I saw the headline. Obi, I don't know how Peter Obi was able to calculate this, but he's calculated that the president has only spent 8 days in Nigeria. But let's get into the calculation. The presidency has spent at least new. So this is like the cap. This is not the cap. This is like the bottom level. 34.39 billion naira on forex exchange purchases for international travel and related obligations for a 2-year period. My heart is just doing like this because, anyway, the records which cover transactions by the State House, Presidential Air Fleet, the Office of the Chief of Staff, operations linked to the President, the Vice President, the First Lady, and their aides show a sharp swing in spending patterns between 2024 and 2025. The analysis of this data showed that 2024 we had 29 billion, and then 2025 had an additional 5 billion naira. This represents a year-on decline of 82.8%. While the presidency has maintained that these trips are necessary for diplomacy, investment, promotion, and bilateral relations, the scale and timing of the spending have continued to draw public scrutiny and amid Nigeria's fiscal constraints and forex shortages. The Presidential Air Fleet, managed by the Nigerian Air Force, is responsible for the air transport needs of the President, the Vice President, and senior government officials. Anyway, between March and May 2024, this fleet account recorded repeated purchases of 1.27 billion naira each on March 7, March 9, April 6. I mean, there's a list. There's a long list. Emmanuel, what's going on? Because here's the thing, the president is arguing or defending themselves to say that, these trips are necessary, because of diplomacy, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do Y, we're trying to do Z, right? But Shati Jerry, all these trips, how do I pronounce that in English? How do I translate? What are the benefits of all these trips that the presidency has been taking? Whether the president or whether the vice president, the president went to Switzerland, 428.88 million naira. He went to Ethiopia, 1.1 billion naira. He went to Dubai, 750 million. Then the vice president went to Cote d'Ivoire, 176 million. The first lady went to France, 149 million. The vice president went to Liberia, 86 million. Please, what is going on? This money is doing me bish. And here's the thing. If we're seeing the economy get better, if we're seeing that, we're seeing proceeds come in, investments come in, I'm not sure anybody will be really, really arguing, but it's like you're always going, but we're not seeing the dividends. And then you're spending money that we don't have. Take it away, Emmanuel, because...
basically, I think what makes the figure so high was the spending in 2024, which I think amounts to about 29.35 billion. And 2025, which is last year, we recorded an 82.8% decrease because only about 5.04 billion was spent on traveling for presidency, vice presidents, the first lady, the office of chief of staff, and all. See, let me just try to touch on why I think the figure for 2024 was that high. In 2024, especially the first half of 2024, we had a lot of frequent official foreign trips by the president, vice president, and first lady. And there was also large purchase, like you mentioned, around March, for aviation operation, especially the presidential air fleet, which needs a lot of maintenance and all. So there was a lot of purchase for that in the first half of 2024, as far as I can remember. And also, you look at ESTA codes. ESTA codes also takes a whole lot from this spending, because when we say presidential spending, I think we need to break it down, because we live in an emotional society. When people hear figure, they just fly with it without having a proper understanding of how the figures came to be. And I think I have to just help us a bit by trying to break it down to why we had higher figure of 29.35 billion in 2024, and then you have a sharp decline of 5.04 billion in 2025. If the presidential air travel is about 5 or 6 billion in a year, nobody will complain, because we know that involves the president, the vice president, first lady, the chief of staffs, and all. But the truth is, when we see high figure, we complain. But we also have to understand how this figure came into being, so that we won't just fly with numbers on our emotion. I understand the angle of the press that we want headline that flies. But the truth is, I think the Punch could have done better by saying that presidency in 2025 spent 5.04 billion on transports, foreign trips. Nobody would take that headline and fly with it, but they understand that they need to generate reaction, and action has to generate reaction. That is why they've actually put the figure together and say presidency spends 30 point something billion on transport, and then most people will think that was for last year, and their emotions will go up until you start reading through before you see that, oh, they are talking about 2-year period. So that is what happens with media. The headline must fly. And when you look at the exchange rate volatility for 2024 also, that actually gave rise to the high figure in 2024, because the local currency we had actually depreciated a lot in 2024. And until 2025, when we had a bit of control over it. Some will say, why is now the 2025 figure about 5 billion naira? Very simple. What happened in 2025 was tighter controls and small transactions. For me, I believe 2025 generally featured smaller forest purchase, which is not in billions, but in just tens of millions, indicating there was an effort from the presidency to rein in forest outflows. And then we had a better forest condition, because in 2025, what we did was we experienced a bit of stable foreign exchange. There was stability in our forex, which actually helped maintain this figure. So we look at this, and I think if they can build on the decline from 2024 to 2025 in 2026, then I would say they will free up significant funds that could be used somewhere else in government operations. Because for me, the 29 billion naira is high. But let's say, okay, just resume office. 2024 was a year of traveling. 2025, we've seen a decline. And I know that in 2026, Nigerians are not expecting us to have high figure again. Maybe if there's maintenance, because maintenance is what can give rise to high figures. If there's maintenance of presidential fleet, then we might have high figures going up. So I think what we've also had is we've had a lot of remote engagement and tighter vetting for travel necessity. Don't forget, in 2025, the government said that it has to be very important for government officials to just get out of the country and say they are going on foreign trips, because apart from the traveling expenses, you see the ESTA codes. The ESTA codes is a lot of money for those who are in government. They love ESTA codes so much. One language that people in government like hearing is they are going on trip is ESTA codes. This is what you call your out of station traveling allowance, but they call it ESTA codes. And when you are paid ESTA codes, you will be happy. So I think the reduction in having remote engagement and tighter vetting for travel necessity in 2025 also aided this. So I'm hoping that they will not relent and relax on this measure, because they might feel that this is pre-election year, and they need to make people happy and allow them go on rigmarole traveling. But if they look at the decline of about 80-something%, which is very, very high and which is in the positive, I think at this point what we should be doing is, we should give them the stick for 2024 and we should commend them for 2025. That's why I said we need to break it down, because when Nigerians hear the whole figure, they will feel like, government has spent 30-something billion naira on traveling in a year, but that is for a 2-year period. Albeit with a year-on-year decline of about 80-something%. So from 29 billion in probably 30 billion in 2025, you have about 5 billion in 2024, I beg your pardon, then about 5 billion in 2025, which is a sharp decline in traveling expenses. So I think we should give them kudos for what they've done, and then we should also give them the stick for 2024, which we didn't do back then, but I'll focus more on the year we are reviewing and say that, there was a sharp decline, kudos to them, but let's hope that we'll get more of this in 2026, and then we'll not see the figure go up by 100% or 200%. Let's just hope that this would just be the best, and then we can actually enjoy it. So that is just what I would say on that. But 2026, we can only hope that the figure would remain the same or go down a bit. But in any society, you have the presidency traveling. You will not want to look at the cost of an U.S. president traveling, Russian president. We can see they are developed worlds, but they have a whole lot, because most times presidents don't travel alone. They have to go with officials that matters to the issue they are going to discuss.
I think the issue really is, okay, we're not saying don't travel, is that what has the traveling you've done, what has it yielded so far in terms of the money that comes to the country, in terms of the investment that we have in the country? Do you understand what I mean? So I think that's where Nigerians get upset. And it's almost like whenever something is happening, thankfully the president didn't travel when we had that really, really serious incident in November with the kids, in the school children in Niger, the Borno and Niger states. He didn't travel, he had sent his vice instead. But then we see typically that the president travels regardless, but then what is coming in return? If I travel to my uncle's house, I want to go and see my uncle, the hope is that as I'm coming back, my uncle will give me like 500K, 1 million, I'll see food stuff. Because if I'm going to go to his house, I have to calculate my transport money, and when I'm coming back, there's money that is coming back. Do you understand what I mean? So I think that's where...
If you look at that, for me, according to the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, what they've told us is that the president's trip has brought in foreign direct investment of about 50 billion plus USD. And you look at it and they try to break it down, but Nigerians will still argue. But I think I will just take the official figure from the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. They said over 50 billion USD in foreign direct investment. And you see that they said they have this from Exxon Mobil, we have Indorama, I think Coca-Cola and Jindal Steel and all those stuff. Though some of them are disputed. I think Coca-Cola was even disputed. But when they bring about this deal, they said they have brought in about over 50 billion in USD. But don't forget, it's not only foreign direct investment that makes the president's travel. We also have strategic arrangements and MOUs, which is very important to a nation thriving. Strategic arrangement and diplomacy, which falls under the MOU, allows for Nigeria to relate with its partner business-wise and also ease cost of living. For example, when Nigeria was designated country of particular concern, CPC, we had government officials traveling down to the United States. That will be recorded.
Yeah.
But they went for something. When government officials travel to see how they can purchase arms and ammunition for the Nigerian military, it will be recorded under that. So that does not fall under FDI, as we often tie every trip. Because I want us to be realistic. And I just also want us, because I don't like people flying with informations and then reacting on it. Because we know that an average Nigerian just keep it in black and white, and then they take the headline and miss the details. So these are the things that we see, and then all these travelers to open up international market and secure investment. It might not be immediate, and then it might not be, but it will open up something that we would see. So we tie it to FDI. They said they've brought in over 50 billion, which I've said can still be disputed, but I'm not disputing that this morning. A day we raise that will come where I will dispute that with figures and facts. But the truth is, traveling is linked to a whole lot. But we can only hope that when Nigerian officials travel, they make the best use of their journey to ensure that Nigeria gets the best of the best in deals.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Right about now, it's 4 minutes to 8. You're still tuned into Women Radio 91.7. This is the Daily News Review. My name is Fumi Bangara, and our in-house analyst, that's the first one, in-house analyst that you've been listening to, Emmanuel Olonade. Do not forget that we are live on YouTube at WFM 917, and you can listen to us on the go, www.wfm917.com. The phone lines are now open, 07000 917 917 or 09155 917 917. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0703 1756 537 or 08155 917 917. You can call our toll-free line 0800 1235 917. Let's take these messages before we get into the second headline for the day. This one is from Olusoga Ajay. He says, if you decide to go to the market today in Anambra, remember, if anything happens to you, Soludo will be in his house eating chicken. I'm not a sit-at-home fan though, but if I live in Anambra, I no go anywhere because Soludo no give me security. Life first before business and pleasure. Thank you so much for your message. Mayor from Ikotungwe says, good morning nice morning and happy new month to you all in the studio. Same to you. Year in, year out, the government spends billions of dollars sponsoring people to go to Hajj and Israel without any economic benefits. We are too religious. Still, Nigeria is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Churches and mosques are the highest factories and companies in land. Still, crime is everywhere, especially in the so-called churches and mosques. The government and the religious leaders are busy milking the poor citizens left and right. The factories are closing down on a daily basis, while the churches and mosques are growing very, very fast because of hardship. Quite unfortunate. Oh God, arise and trouble those are troubling Nigerians. Thank you so much, Mayor, for your message. Next up, we have top of the morning to you in the studio. On coup plotters, I disagree with some people who said the federal government comes late. Who said federal government comes late before telling Nigerians about the coup? To me, it is better late than never. And my question is, are the coup plotters arrested? If yes, they should be tried. And if guilty, they should be given maximum sentence to serve as deterrent to others. No to military coup in Nigeria. No, whoever is interested in governing this country among the military guys should take off his clothes and join political parties and come in true democratic ways. That is from Additional Wasiu in Ikorodu. With that being said, we're going to go straight into the second headline for this morning. Emmanuel, the sit-at-home has been happening. I mean, Anambra, the Onitsha market has always observed the sit-at-home, but right about now, they're saying, no, we're not doing that anymore. However, the issue remains, will there be security for them if they go to the market? Most of the headlines of the newspapers this morning took this headline. Soludo opens Onitsha market. Main market says no more sit-at-home in Anambra. Now, the governor of Anambra State has ordered the temporary shutdown of the market. That was last week, after traders defied the state's directive to ignore the long-standing sit-at-home, Monday sit-at-home enforced by the prescribed IPOB, that's the indigenous people of Biafra. So he issued the directive for the closure on during an on the spot visit to the market. But right about now, he's now saying all traders are hereby directed to resume business as usual on Monday, that's today, 2nd of February 2026, as there is no longer any form of sit-at-home on Mondays in Anambra. One of the reasons that he was upset, or he gave the order for it to be shut down, was because he says millions of naira is being lost when they sit at home on Monday. But the question is, if you tell them to go and resume, what happens if IPOB militants, IPOB people, their members come and they are inflicting harm on these people? We're still dealing with the insurgents, we're still dealing with terrorists, we're still dealing with banditry. We will not add this one again. I mean, because this not only affects the school, the market, it also affects schools, because students don't go to school on Monday as well. Some lawmakers in Anambra State, as I last week had said, oh yeah, we agree with the governor of the state, but it's not about agreeing. It's about whether these people are safe if they get to the market. Are there security personnel that have been, told to go, instructed to go stay at the market to prevent any fight indefinitely? Not that, they will come today, they will not come next week. Indefinitely, because that's also the issue that we've had with cases of terrorism in the schools, in towns, in Nigeria. Yes, Emmanuel, I think that we have a call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mano. Good morning. Happy New Year to each and every one of us, and
yes.
Happy New Year to also.
Happy New Year.
Quickly before we go to the second story, Mr. Mano, who was asking that how have these troops benefited us? I was thinking we shed more light on it, but probably because we don't have much time. I also have a couple of questions. I think in accounting, we are told that when the expenditure is greater than the input you get, you don't have enough. When the output you hope you want to get is far more higher than what you're getting if you're not doing the logouts, if it's not balanced up, then you're still running at enough. Let me bring it down. We spoke about getting firearms and a couple of things. We're talking about foreign investment that we said maybe will not show up now, will show up later. So, in essence, are you saying all the troops that have been highlighted, that they are quite necessary, that those people have a that time, that are not seeing the dividends of this troop? Students question. I understand you said when they bring out or turn out these figures, we don't get the details, it flies past our head. I feel as a Nigerian that there are some troops that have been made that ought not to be made. I understand the fact that you say even foreign bodies, they travel outside, they also do their own expenditure. But I'm saying, are you justifying, or are we justifying that all these troops, we should say they are okay, they are saying something? Because, see, when you are comparing what Nigeria has faced, the citizens have faced in these past years, and what the people out there have faced, and how stable their economy is. We want to not balance that with, I kind of disagree with your logic this morning. Let me understand, make it make sense to me. That we are justifying all this without approach to this humongous amount of money. Maybe because of time, maybe because of I don't know, but whatever it is, in all these troops, you are saying this morning that it was needed, it was necessary, it was compulsory that the president and everyone in his cabinet, including the first lady and everybody under him, it is imperative that we undergo this trip. Because I want you to still shed light on it and how it has benefited us so far, or how it will benefit us in the near future. Because I don't see that coming out until before you start comparing us to the other people out there. I want you to understand the standard living of the average Nigerian And the standard living of the absolute person living outside there. That is why we are all jackpotting, or everyone is trying to jackpot. So please, justify these spendings, and let me see if truly it is called for. All this money that could also be put into good use, you know, short are necessary. They are looking everything is necessary. Good morning. It's Monday morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Oboli, for your question and for calling in. Emmanuel, the question was to you.
Yeah, basically, I said in 2025, the government were able to cut traveling based on directive from the presidency that only important trip should be undertaken. And I did say that what happened is the fact that because they want the headline to generate reaction, they combined the figure for 2 years together. But actually, the figure for last year, which is in review, which I mentioned, is about 5-point-something billion naira, which is still an okay figure, considering what we have with our naira for officials to travel. And it's not all trip that you go to that generates investments. I did say that. Some trips are meant for bilateral relations. You can't go to AU summit and go for business. If business comes, it's by the side, but it's bilateral relations. You can't go to New York for what's it called, UN meeting, General Assembly. That is tied to something. So some are for bilateral relations. Like when the Hercules C-130 was held hostage in Burkina Faso, it requires officials traveling. That falls under bilateral. But if we are talking about the business aspect, which we focus on most times, which is the foreign direct investments, I mean, somebody said she wants some figures. And I did quote that Ministry of Trade Investment said they've had about 50+ billion, which some of it, I said, can be disputed. For example, during the G20 summit in India, officials said they secured a $14 billion in investment commitments. That is in commitment. And part of that was also, I think, the Airtel's 800 million role in Nigeria, ICT and connectivity sector. So Airtel is telling them that, based on the G20 summit in India and met with Nigerian officials, we are going to be making a commitment of about 800 million USD in Nigeria's ICT and connectivity sector. How that is implemented rests solely on the shoulders of officials who are in-house in Nigeria. But based on that trip to India for the G20 summit, there was a bit of commitment. Now, how you actualize that commitment is now if you have all the necessary things they want in place in the country. If you don't have it, the commitment might not become a reality. That is why government is not something like a rocket science. It's somehow complex and hard, but our officials most times don't understand the complexity of governance. And that is why we find ourselves in this situation. They secure deals, but the execution most times is the problem. Don't forget the Siemens deal that ought to improve our electricity. All the equipment, everything is in Nigeria, but implementation in our own terrain has been the problem. Now, the person that went abroad to get that deal done will tell you that I have secured a commitment from Siemens, which is what, let's say, about 2 billion naira, I don't know the actual cost, to help foster electricity generation and distribution in Nigeria. The commitment has been secured, but coming down to the country, implementation becomes a problem. So when you look at it, for example, Arise integrated, I think, industrial platform or something, which was about 3.5 billion USD, they said they secured it. Alternative Petroleum and Power Limited, I think that should be, I think is in euros, about 8 or 9 point something billion euros. They secured it. It's commitment. Commitment to invest. When I meet with you, when I discuss with you and you tell me, oh, Emmanuel, I travel down to come and meet you in your space. I have a business idea. This is how you can put one or two together. I will give you my commitment to invest. But when I now see what you've put in place, I can tell you that, oh, Fumi, I gave you a commitment of 10 million naira. With what you've put in place, I can only give you 100,000 naira to secure my own investment.
Mm.
But you will not be in your house telling me that I should come and invest. You will come to me and present a proposal for investment to me. Take it as something in sales. When you have something to sell, you secure an appointment with whosoever you want to sell the product or idea to. And then you take yourself, you meet the person. Whether it becomes a reality or it doesn't become a reality, you have to go. And then the logistics falls on you. I'm just trying to explain it in plain terms.
Mm-hmm.
But for Nigerian officials, I've said not every trip is for business. Some are for bilateral relations, to maintain and see how you can foster cordial relationships between their country and your own country, to see how you can exchange ideas for development between your country and their own country. So that was why I said there was a sharp decrease, which is a positive one for us, from 2024, which was about 29.8 billion naira, to about 5-point-something billion naira in 2025, which you don't often see because every year government expenditure on foreign travels goes up. Two things that happens in the world of leadership. President must be visible. You must seem to be meeting with other world leaders. You cannot live in seclusion. So some trips are mandated for the president to go. If the president is not going, the vice president must go. Hey, United Nations General Assembly, the president or vice president must be there.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where you have world leaders. That's where you have access to have side chats with other world leaders that could lead to collaborations. AU General Assembly, the president must be there. ECOWAS Assembly, the president must be there. There are bodies that Nigeria belong to. If you're having the UN Women Assembly, the minister must be there. So there are some things that are sacrosanct and there are some things that are compulsory in governance. But the truth is, if the expenditure is high, I will complain. That is why from the start I said I fought the headline by the Punch, which was meant to drive emotion, until you read before you see the breakdown, that last year the presidency, which include government officials, vice presidents, the president, only spent about 5-point-something billion naira in travel, which is a sharp decline from the roughly 30 billion naira spent in 2024, after measures were put in place that only important trips must be undertaken and must be approved. That I said must be approved by the office of the SSG. So you can't just wake up as a government official and say, we are traveling to Cameroon. They will ask you to do what?
Right.
So that is what has been put in place. And that was why I said that I hope that coming to 2026, we will see a maintenance of that figure or also a sharp decline. They've said they've brought in Ministry of Trade and Investment, which is responsible for trade and investment coming into the country and going out, said they've brought in over 50 billion plus USD in foreign direct investments. It's not left for us to query that. And I said today is not the day to query that. So if they are saying they've spent, in 2 years, they've spent 30-something billion naira, and they've brought in about 50 billion naira, 50 billion USD, I think that something billion in naira should be around 20 million USD. Yeah, it should be around 20 million USD in government travels. And part of it was only about 2-point-something or 3 million USD that was spent in last year. I think it's a sharp decline that we should tell them well done for and tell them to still go down the figure as much as possible.
Right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. With that being said, right about now is 14 minutes after 8. You're searching into Women, Radio 91.7 FM, Voice of Women. This is the Daily News Review. You just heard the voice of our in-house analyst, Emmanuel. My name is Fumi Bangala. Okay, Emmanuel, the next headline that we're talking about before we got a call, which is the sit-at-home, the back and forth between Soludo and sit-at-home, the sit-at-home situation, the order that's been given by IPOB. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the sit-at-home that has been on since 2021, and as they say in Yoruba language, because it has been there for a while. And economists have complained that shutting down the Onitsha main markets have been privileged to be there. And I know how big and how industrial that Onitsha main market is.
Yes.
Shutting it down on Mondays doesn't do well for the internal generated revenue of Anambra and also for the amount of money moving hands in that market.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very busy market, always busy. But the truth is, when the sit-at-home started, government was not able to stop it. Government was not able to assure citizens that they can protect them. So citizens lived in fear and adapted their life to the sit-at-home on Mondays. If you go to the East on Monday, markets are shut, banks, schools, nothing opens on Monday. Because the fear has been there for a long time. And those who have dared to try to break from the shackles of sit-at-home, some of them have met untimely death, while some live with regrets that will be with them for life, based on one thing: the security and welfare of the citizens shall be the paramount responsibility of the government, the primary responsibility of the government. That's why people are in government. But they failed for years, 2021, and this is 2026, for 5 good years. So when you wake up one morning and you tell them, no more sit-at-home, I guarantee you security, an average human being will look at you and ask, guarantee me security after 5 years? Where I've conditioned my life to accept that Monday is another fun day for them, the East. Because what happened is they started having extended weekend. So Soludo needs to engage the people. See, 2 soldiers fighting the same battle at the war front will injure each other if they don't shout friendly fire. Because if you come and you don't shout friendly fire, you guys would injure each other, shooting at each other, not knowing that you guys are friends. The truth is, we've been clamoring for the sit-at-home to end. But you don't end the sit-at-home like Caesar. You shut the Onitsha main market. The next day, they shut the overhead bridge in Onitsha. Nothing came in, nothing went out.
Oh, yeah.
State is losing. Economy is going down. And Nigeria cannot afford to have this kind of economy, right? This kind of stress on the economy right now. So I think for Charles Soludo, if he can guarantee that schools are safe, because you are saying they should reopen, they should do this. And I ask, if any incident...
Oh, we have a call.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning, Madam Sumi. Good morning, Mr. Emmanuel. I've been enjoying your analyzing and trying to balance this up. I really enjoy it, and I agree with what you said 100%. The media are not there, just want to say, but some kind of house doesn't mean that there's something good in Nigeria that people can report. Every day, not to know one thing or one thing or the other. Every day you wake up, it's all bad news in the newspapers. I don't know, somebody news, we need to go and buy something. That will discourage you. So now nothing good is happening in Nigeria. That's what they're telling us. We are the marketing Nigeria. I want foreign investors to come. Sometimes the way we talk about it, sometimes I try to, even when we start it, there was a time I want to travel. People say, don't go, this. But thank God I never listen to it. Even though I get all I did, even if I know, nothing happened. sometimes the way you are saying things is not the way it is. And generally, during investigative journalism, we should be marketing account so that foreign investors will come. It will affect all of us if we are the marketing. Like many others, I say, what do you try to do? And I agree, and I need to try to balance myself to avoid that we know all this. So thank you. I agree with you everything. I still see Nigerians get there if we all can do the right thing. Nothing in this life. But you look at this money, it's just your grace of God. You know, not everybody that celebrates them is money are come. Look at us like some of us are parents are doing. One day our own will be over. We are going down and nothing in this life. Any day you wake up, try to talk like, try to do good, try to do whatever. Don't do whatever that you which is what you are doing is part of you. But some of us find ourselves in this position of president. We say something worse. Because in our little people doing the right thing. I've enjoyed this country before. I still enjoy this country. Until I begin, if we all can do the right thing anywhere. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evangelist Dixon, for your call and for your comments. Emmanuel, over to you. We're running out of time already.
Yeah, so when you look at it in the broader perspective, I think it's not only about Onitsha main market, schools, banks. If they can guarantee security, and if you can do that for a month, the sit at home will end. They need to guarantee the citizens that if we are asking you now, that after all these years, to go out on Monday, that if you go out on Monday, you are safe. Then there's no problem. There's no problem because we've been clamoring for the sit at home to end, especially, see, big markets are feeders to smaller markets. So if the big markets are short, the smaller markets are short. So it has like a ripple effect on things. And then it also affects because see, logistics, markets affect logistics. Markets affects levy, that is the indirect IGR generated by the government. So government is losing money, people in transport business are losing money, traders are losing money. So a lot of things are happening, but people are now used to it. And then you ask investors, am I going to put my money on a market that I know will be short every Monday? So it's high time that Soludo comes out to do this. But I'm just hoping it does this the right way. Because if it doesn't do it the right way and anything happen to either any citizen, it's going to be held accountable and it's going to be on his head that he actually brought this into play. So it's high time we see sit at home ends in the East, but is there the willpower by or the capacity by the government to ensure protection of life and property by the citizen? And another thing that's enabled sit at home is the cultural and political affiliation. Don't forget the main reason why we have this sit at home was for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu release. And a sit at home was declared by an entity that is not a state. And it came to pass in a state. State is the government, which is the people. An entity not constitutionally recognized as a state declared it at home, and it came to pass. We need to check our mental well-being. And those in power also need to check themselves. Do you know what that means? In 5 states, an entity, not a state, that is an entity, not a government, declared sit at home in states, and it came to pass 5 good years. And now, after 5 years, the state is waking up to say no more sit at home. That's what I said in the beginning. Is it now that they pay for their money or something? So you look at the complexity of this, and that is what is giving people like us headache. Because of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, everywhere was shut in the East. That is a form of protest. And it lasted for 5 good years. And we don't know whether it's going to stop because the outcome of the governor's remark today, we have to monitor it, will determine whether that would stop. But how are non-state actors given this kind of relevance and power? I think we need to look at the foundation which shows that the cultural and political affiliation for a group of people can also drive this kind of scenario, because people see Nnamdi as someone that would lead the emancipation of the Southeast.
Yeah.
They tend to obey what comes out from his mouth, and then those affiliated to him. So I hope that Anambra will be open up. Not we put the headline on the market, but I hope the whole of Anambra will be open up, and there will not be any incidents today.
I mean, that is indeed the prayer, because we don't want to wake up tomorrow morning and then see, or even today, and then see news of, oh, there was bloodshed and all of that. We're still battling out the one that happened in Niger State over the weekend. It's just too much. So I'm hoping that maybe they should have a closed door meeting. I don't know. But like you rightly said, if they've been doing something for 5 years, it's like that's a grown-up child doing something in the same way for 5 years, and then you automatically want to stop it by giving an order. I think that conversations would need to be had, should have been had actually, when he decided he was going to stop this. But at the same time, I know that it's a case of, how dare this person have more power than me? This person that is not a state, is not a governor, is not anybody politically elected or anything like that. I mean, hopefully they can come to a compromise or an agreement of some sort, so that we can see progress from Anambra State. With that being said, thank you so much, Emmanuel, for coming on the show today. We truly, truly appreciate you. Today, you didn't really give us bass like that. No fiery words. We're happy. Then, Mario.
I have to speak the truth.
Yeah, you speak the truth, but today you did not. No fire. There was no fire today. Because last week I kept on thinking about the things that you said. I was like, wow, okay, right. But we truly, 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 truly appreciate you. We do. Okay, we've come to the end of the Daily News Review, and by extension, the Full Breakfast Show this morning. Many thanks to our producer, Miriam Bukalawale. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Hilary. Thank you to our executive producer, Tom Okiwale Shonaya, as well. At 9 o'clock is the news. 9:05 is her lens with Rose. Catch you same time tomorrow, 7:30, for the next edition of Daily News Review. Once again, happy new month, happy love month. Emmanuel, go and get somebody to take out on Valentine's Day. Don't say anything. I must have the last laugh. Don't say anything. Thank you. My name is Babala. Do enjoy your day. Bye for now.